Hi, Nathan here. Welcome to Inside Sports, the channel where I give you my picks for the NFL and all picks guaranteed or your money back, which is nothing because it's free, of course. So I've been doing this for probably close to 20 years. I've been watching football ever since I was 4 years old. I remember watching Monday Night Football with my mom. I was like, "Oh, like Mom, what's this?" And she's like, "That's Joe Montana on the 49ers." And she seemed really excited about it. And ever since, I was very interested in what's this football like? Oh, they won Super Bowls and all this. So from that day forward, I became a hardcore 49ers fan. But then it wasn't until I was about 12 when this guy named Brett Favre started beating the Niners every year when I really started to get into football. So, um, so I've been watching pretty regularly for the past 20 years or so, plus, I guess. I don't know how old I look. And, on the side, I like to not only pick the winners, but, see how I do against the point spread. And of course, this is all for fun. Um, you know, have I gone to Vegas and gambled a bit here and there? Yes, I have. But of course, you should only bet what you're willing to lose. Otherwise, you may end up um, having a bad day. So, in any case, I'm going to give you my picks for, I believe it's week 13 of the NFL. My lines, my initial picks, I based off of the lines from Monday night, early Tuesday. They've definitely shifted since then, but I'm going to just stick with what I had unless I see something dramatically different. But so the first game on the board, Washington at Dallas. This is this Thursday. The current line is Washington favored by 1.5 points. Um, right now, Dallas, I think they've lost three straight. They've looked very one-dimensional. They've put too much on Dak Prescott's shoulders. They haven't been scoring points. They've looked kind of bad. Washington, on the other hand, like they haven't been winning, but they've been playing some teams close. They did beat the Giants, I suppose, last week, but they were leading the Saints big until the end, and then the Saints came back and beat them. Washington beat Seattle on the road. They can beat anyone, but they can also lose to the worst in the league. So this is a tough call. Without Ezekiel Elliott, Dallas is definitely a different team. But I think if Dallas went to a formula of really trying to run the ball and dedicated to it, they could probably. They still have an excellent offensive line. I think they could probably control the clock, keep the score down, keep it close, and potentially win at the end. If they don't do that, or if Washington jumps to an early lead, then they're going to be forced to throw. And if that's the plan, they're probably going to end up losing like they did the last 3 weeks. With that said, I'm going to pick, reluctantly, Washington to cover the spread here, minus 1.5. And then the over-under is 45.5. It started at 44.5. Currently at 45.5, and this is at the Westgate, by the way, just in case anyone was wondering. I always go by the Westgate, although maybe some people have different lines based on different online vendors and whatnot. Let's see. Yeah, I said initially that line that I saw was 44.5, and I said it was going to be over. So 45.5. I guess we'll stick with the over there. All right, next game, Detroit at Baltimore. This game I think is going to be very close. Matthew Stafford is a very good quarterback. Um, he basically has not had a running game since he's been the starter. I think there was some stat last week where they were saying that he's only had 5 players rush for 100 yards in all of his starts, something like that, something insane. So he just isn't getting the support he needs. But I guess he's used to it. Baltimore, I think they've slowly been kind of, you know, lurking in the shadows, slowly getting better this season. I think they have 3 shutouts already on the season. Their defense is very solid. It was a little suspect last week against Tom Savage in Houston, but I think that was mostly an aberration. Their defense is very solid. I mean, it's winning them games. I mean, I think they had a few interceptions. It's hard to beat the Baltimore Ravens, and the defense is carrying this team because their offense, the Baltimore's offense, is pretty bad. It's like in the low 200s on average in most games. Joe Flacco just is not, moving the ball down the field like he did when he won the Super Bowl. In any case, the line, Baltimore's favored by 3. I could easily see this going either way. It's a really tough call. I actually think it's probably going to be a tie, a push. I see Baltimore probably winning this game by 3 or losing it by 3, but they're the home team. Their defense is very good. I think they're going to win this game by 3 points. So I'm going to go to Baltimore on this game. And for the over-under, I had it at under 42. It's now 43. I'm going to stick with the under 43. Detroit played Pittsburgh. It was like it's a field goal fest, and that game went under. And I think Baltimore's defense is probably just as good as Pittsburgh's. All right, next game on the board, we've got San Francisco at Chicago. Again, this game, very interesting. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to get his first start. It's hard to say, what's going to happen here. In limited play with New England, he played pretty well, but he got injured. So I think, was it Jacoby Brissett? He ended up finishing off that run. I think he only played 2 games, and then Jacoby Brissett played the other 2 or 2.5 of Tom Brady's suspension. Either case, in limited play, he did very well. He threw for a touchdown, I think, in the last play just this last week. Who knows? He could be the next Tom Brady, or he could just be another quarterback that doesn't have much experience. It's really hard to say. Probably, if I had to guess, it's more likely that he's going to be inexperienced. The 49ers do not have a potent, offensive weapons at their disposal. They're kind of hanging in games with their defense and, scoring here and there, but, 49ers are not world leaders. Then again, Chicago, their offense is terrible too. But they actually have a top defense. Like their defense is actually surprisingly good this season. It's a little underrated. I think of Jimmy Garoppolo, was a little rusty from not playing. It's going to show, and Chicago will probably win this and cover the spread of -3, so 3 points. And the over-under of 41 now, I'm taking the under. I mean, this game is going to be like 15-12, maybe 9-7. All right, next game, Minnesota at Atlanta. I just watched Minnesota demolish the Rams. That was very impressive. They played a close game against the Lions on Thanksgiving. Minnesota looks like a playoff team. They look very good. Atlanta, they kind of struggled. They had a little Super Bowl hangover. They struggled a little bit. I think they're putting things together. I think Julio Jones had like an insane game last week, something like 200 yards and 2 touchdowns or something. I mean, it's not something insane. I think they're putting it together. It's a really, really tough call. Atlanta's home team. Minnesota's looked great. I'm going to lean towards Atlanta. They're the home team, -3. It's a gut feeling. I don't know. I mean, I think Minnesota, from what I've seen, has looked better. I haven't watched Atlanta a lot this season, but I'm going to go with Atlanta, -3, and the over 47.5. I think a lot of points are going to be scored. It's going to be back and forth, but Atlanta's going to have the ball at the end, win this football game, and 3 points sounds about right. This could be another tie. All right. Next game, we've got New England at Buffalo. Buffalo went in a big slump. They lost, 3 or 4 games in a row. They were looking really bad. They decided to start Nathan Peterman. That was a big mistake. Got annihilated visiting San Diego. And then last week, I guess they turned it around against the struggling Chiefs, won 16-10. No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. It's 8.5 points at home. New England is a great team, but I think Buffalo found some confidence last week. Their defense, I don't know if it's Kansas City's incompetence, but they were in Kansas City. Defense held them to 10 points. I think Buffalo keeps this just close enough to cover the spread here. So we're going to take Buffalo at home, plus 8.5 points. Over-under is 48.5. Was 49. But I'm taking the over here. I think it's going to be back and forth. They're both scoring lots of points. We're taking the over 48.5 points. Current as of, Wednesday? November 29th, 2017, just in case you weren't sure. Lines can change, so that's why I'm telling you now. You were warned. All right, next game here. Yeah, sorry, and if I'm coughing, I'm getting over a little bit of a cold, so apologize for that. Denver at Miami. We've got 2 teams that have struggled tremendously this season. Denver lost again to the Raiders. I think they've lost 5 or 6 straight. Miami, don't get me started. They're playing terrible too. So, I mean, this is really tough. Right now, Denver's favored by 1.5 points. It's really hard to make a prediction here. Miami's probably going to be starting Matt Moore again. This line has moved in Denver's favor. I'm not entirely sure why, especially since Aqib Talib is going to be suspended for 2 games. But, I'm sure the books know something more than I do. But I'm leaning towards the home team here. I mean, Denver, I don't know why or how, but they found ways to lose like 4 or 5 weeks in a row. Why stop now? So I'm going with Miami. Plus 1.5 points at home. Small home dog. We're going with it. And then over-under currently sitting at 39.5. I'm taking the under. All right, Houston, Tennessee. Houston lost. Played pretty well. Lost against Baltimore. Tennessee, I don't know, these scrappy Tennessee Titans. They somehow find a way to win every week by like 3-4 points. The point spread will be 3.5. They win by 3. Point spread's 4.5. They win by 4. I mean, somehow they pull it off. They don't cover the spread, but they win. Houston impressed me against Baltimore. They they weren't amazing, but they played well enough. Tennessee, they play better at home, obviously, but for some reason, every game is super close. So I'm taking the 7 points here. I'm going Houston plus 7 at Tennessee. Over under 42. We're going the over. I mean, it's not that many points to score. I think it's going over. All right, Indianapolis at Jacksonville. In Houston, they've allowed, they're like one of the top 5 worst scoring defenses for quarterbacks. The reason I know that is because I have Marcus Mariota on my fantasy team, who hasn't been great in fantasy, but I'm starting him this week because Houston is allowing a lot of points. All right, next game, Indianapolis at Jacksonville. Jacksonville got surprised that they lost at Arizona. A lot of people, thought Jacksonville was going to win. They were 6-point favorites. Now they're 9.5-point favorites. Well, that's what I had. Let's see. 9.5-point favorites at home against Indianapolis, division rival. I mean, Indianapolis. I mean, they're not winning, but somehow they seem to stay close. I don't know. That seems like a lot of points. I'm taking 9.5 points with Indianapolis against Jacksonville. Jacksonville has not had a non-losing season in, I don't know, was it 10 years or something? So there's a psychological hurdle to get to this 8th win. And, they might get it, but I think they might have the fear a little bit and play a little soft towards the end. And even if they have a big lead, it's possible that Indianapolis scores the garbage time touchdown at the end and covers that spread. We're taking Indianapolis plus 9.5. Over-under is 41. Jacksonville's defense is pretty good. I'm taking the under 41. All right, next game. Finally, Tampa Bay at Green Bay. But they didn't have a line for this game until finally today because the last 2 days I've been waiting. It started as a pick. Now Tampa Bay is favored by 1.5 points. I actually like Green Bay here. I think, Brett Hundley played at UCLA. He's a decent quarterback. He can run. He's got a strong arm. He's smart. Not the most accurate, but he's definitely athletic. They're playing in Lambeau Field. I mean, I think he's had enough experience now and gained some confidence against Pittsburgh in a very close game. I think Green Bay wins this one at home. So I'm taking the home dog plus 1.5 points. Over-under is currently sitting at 44. We're going to go over 44. Kansas City at the New York Jets. Currently sitting at Kansas City's favored by 3.5 points. Well, Kansas City, they started out 5-0. Now they're 6-5. Only one game ahead of the Raiders and the Chargers in the division. I mean, this is about as close to a must-win game as there is. New York Jets, they just knocked themselves out of playoff contention last week by losing a close one to Carolina. Although I don't think the Jets are going to lay down. I really think they're going to still play hard. They lost that spark. You know what I mean? Like in football, if you don't give 100%, you're probably going to lose. 99% is not enough. And if there's no real reason to play for, if they get down big, it's possible the Jets could just give in because they're like, why hurt my body, get injured potentially for a game that doesn't really mean anything to us anymore. So I am predicting Kansas City needs to make a statement. They need to win this game and they need to win it big. So I'm going to say Kansas City gets back on track, wins this game big. We're taking Kansas City minus 3.5. And the over-under is 44. We're going over. I mean, Kansas City, they're going to score 42 by themselves. Watch. Next game, Cleveland at the Los Angeles Chargers. I see this. I want to say LA Clippers, but no, it's LA Chargers. Chargers are favored by 14. I think this could be a letdown game. The Chargers have been playing very well most of the season. They've lost a few close ones due to kicker issues and bad luck. Like last season, I think they lost 6 or 7 games by a touchdown or less, something crazy. I think they win this game, but I think that this may be a little bit of a letdown. It's possibly maybe overlooking Cleveland a little bit. I mean, maybe not, but I think 14 points in the National Football League is a lot, even against the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns, by the way, rumor has it that they're getting Josh Gordon back. And I don't know if you remember the last time Josh Gordon played, just like 3 or 4 years ago, but he was actually insane. He was just tearing it up. I think it was like 150 yards a game and a touchdown, like every game. I think he had like a 300-yard receiving game or something close to it. I mean, it was insane. And these were the Browns. Like they weren't like world-beating teams. I mean, this guy was uber talented. So if he still has anything left in the tank, they got to watch out. So that he could be worth 3 or 4 points by himself. Taking the Browns. Look, I know it's the Browns, but that's what we're going with. And the over-under here, 43. We're going to go over. We're going to score some points. All right, next game on the board. Carolina at New Orleans Saints. New Orleans favored by 4. Hasn't moved. Division rivals. Could be close. Carolina's got to play on the road 2 weeks in a row. They played close against the Jets. Pulled that one out. Saints are a little bit better than the Jets. They attempted to take the 4 points of Carolina because they're very good. They beat New England. They blew out the Dolphins. But they also lost to Chicago, the Bears. And the Bears are terrible. New Orleans, they actually didn't play bad against the Rams last week. They actually played okay. It just, the Rams just played solid. They played very well. They just didn't give them a good chance to do anything in that game. And, a little too little too late. And it was still close. I think it was within a score. But ultimately, the Rams pulled it out, and the Saints lost. But the Saints are a very good team. So we're going to go with the Saints, -4 at home. They want to make a statement. They're going to win this game. Over under 48. Oh, it just refreshed. Went to 4. Just literally as I said that, it went from 4 to 4.5 at the Westgate. Someone just bet big on the Saints. We're going to go over 4.5. Even better. Wonderful. Make it that much harder. They're winning this game. You heard it from me first. And it's going to be over 48 points. All right, next game. We've got the LA Rams at Arizona Cardinals. The Rams, they're good. They're playing very well this year. They just, I think, got one of their first big-time wins against the Saints. The Saints are probably going to be a good playoff team. They've crushed all the soft teams. They have a really soft schedule this year, and they've crushed most of the teams they played. Arizona's struggled. They don't have much of a running game. They're on backup quarterbacks. A lot of injuries. They beat Jacksonville, but I don't know if they can do it against an arguably better team in the Rams. It's possible because division rivals, anything's happening. The line started at 6. I liked him at 6. Now the line's at 7. I'll still take him at 7. Taking the LA Rams -7 on the road against Arizona. Keep the ball rolling. Let's do it. Over under 45. Used to be 45.5. We're going with the over. I think they're going to score some points. All right, next game. New York Giants at Oakland. Okay, this is very interesting. They just announced Eli Manning is not going to start for the first time in 222 games. That's a big deal, very emotional. But, clearly the Giants have struggled this year. I think they're looking for a spark. Anything. Does Geno Smith, excuse me, does Geno Smith offer them a better chance to win than Eli Manning? Probably not. He's not an amazing quarterback. I mean, Eli Manning, he's clutch. He won 2 Super Bowls. Is Eli Manning the best quarterback? No, but he knows how to win football games. But what the Giants need is they need a spark. They need something different. That's what they're looking for. Anything. I get it. It's possible that this could spark them. It's possible that Geno Smith is rusty, throws 5 interceptions, and Oakland wins easily. It's a tough call. Initially, when I looked at this game, Eli Manning was still going to be playing, and the line was at 7.5. But I'm going to say that the Giants get a spark from this, and they're going to cover the spread. 8.5 points. Get a lot of points at Oakland. Current over under 42. We're going to go under. Oakland has struggled to score. Their top 2 receivers are going to be out with concussion and suspension. The Giants are missing Odell Beckham Jr. Geno Smith. I mean, I just don't see how lots of points can be scored unless there's just a bunch of turnovers, which is certainly possible. But I think if we're counting on the offense to score points, I don't think the offense is going to score. If you simulate this game 100 times, 70% of the games, I think the offense is going to score under 42 points. So we're going to go under 42 points. Lock it in. All right. Next game, Philadelphia at Seattle. I kind of like this game. Everyone and their mom is riding on Philadelphia. They're a very good team. They're going to the playoffs. They've looked very good. Most of the teams they face haven't really challenged them that much. But then again, it's hard to win in Seattle. They call it the 12th man for a reason. It's very difficult to win in that stadium. Seattle, their defense is still solid, despite losing, their Legion of Boom to injury. Their defense is still very good. I kind of like Seattle to potentially upset Philadelphia in Seattle. Philadelphia, you can't win I guess you could, but you can't win every game in National Football League. 6 points to give up to a good team when they're at home. That's almost crazy. Seattle is actually a very good team. Yes, they don't score points in bundles, but they don't necessarily need to. They've got a good defense. They can control the ball, control the clock. I think Seattle, if they don't win, I think they're going to cover the spread. It's 6 points. So we're going to take Seattle at home, 6 points, and we're going to go under 47.5. I like their defense to shut Philadelphia down just a little bit. All right, and then what else? I think this is the last one. We've got Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. 2 more a lot of division rivalry games. Teams know each other very well. They hate each other. Division rivalries, anything can happen. This line started at 7 points. Cincinnati was favored by 7. Now it's 5. Not favored. Cincinnati was 7-point dogs. Now they're 5-point dogs. So people were taking the points. Andy Dalton has been playing pretty well the last 3 or 4 weeks. They've been getting some wins. Pittsburgh's been winning too, but some of the wins have been closer than they expect. Pittsburgh usually plays better at home than on the road. 5 point. This sounds like a 4 or 5 point game. I like Cincinnati at +7 a lot. At +5, I think I still like Cincinnati, just not as much. But certainly Cincinnati has a very good chance of beating Pittsburgh at home. Anything can happen in these games. It's going to be Monday Night Football. I think the over has hit on just about every Monday night for the last 6 or 7 Monday nights, something crazy. Unless I think last week the line moved from 38 to 39 points. So if you had it like at 38, it was over, but if you had it at 39 and a half, it ended up being under or something, or it was 38 and a half to 39 and a half. I think the game ended at 39. So depending on when you got it, I think this last Monday was the first time the game went under. But almost every Monday night has gone over for the last like 6 or 7 weeks. I think teams tend to be pumped up Monday night, national football, big audience, big stage, big time. They're pumped up. They want to score some points, show the world, what's going on. So I usually like these games to be, higher scoring. Lines of 43.5. We're taking the over. 43.5. Let's do it. Monday Night Football. All right, so that's my picks for Week 13 of the National Football League. Again, guaranteed or your money back. All right, until next week. See you later.